Wow. Oh, goodness. Ready to fall asleep at 8 o'clock on a Sunday. Hello, one person. Congratulations on being first. No prizes today. Better luck next time. You'll be forever immortalized as the first person in the live stream on June the 10th on some nobody's channel. The internet never forgets. I don't think I'd be lean at 5 or at 210 anyway. I wasn't lean last time I was 210. Don't see it this time either. Not natty confirmed. Yeah, there's got to be one arbitrary number out there that decides it. Good job, I barely missed it. I've not really committed to the cut. I've lost 10, 11 pounds over the last month, but that's just from not eating like an asshole. I've not really sat down and committed hard to cutting any significant amount of weight or time. I'm still torn between wanting my lifting goals sooner rather than later and wanting to feel a little better temporarily. The snake diet is fucking stupid. The guy who promotes it is dumb. The diet itself is dumb. Is it effective to lose weight? Sure, because you're literally not eating. I mean, that's simple. But for an athlete, 48-hour, however extended fasts are not conducive to athletic performance. I think old snake diet guy is promoting drinking your own urine now, so have fun with that if that's what you're into. But yeah, again, for losing weight, if you starve yourself, you're gonna lose weight. For bodybuilding, there is a reason no elite bodybuilders are doing the snake diet. It's not optimal at all. I can't believe like shit like that catches on, but whatever. People follow dogmatic and what's the word I'm looking for? Charismatic people, so whatever. Optimum Nutrition is spiked. Spiked with what? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not spiked or I would have failed drug tests before. Unless they've spiked it since December of 2016. Then who knows? Well, Whether it's placebo, whether your nutrition is just getting better because of it, whether you're working harder, whatever the case may be, if you're fucking seeing gains, don't stop whatever it is you're doing. Just ride the gain train. Mobb Deep, that's a no-brainer, guy. Come on now. You give me too much credit, shit is spiked. Hey, David, by the way, I was playing King Griffey Jr. again last night, and Deion Sanders, whose power is like number 4 ranking in that, 4 out of 10, hit a 520-foot home run. Fucking hilarious. Longest home run I've hit with anybody so far this season, and it was from Deion Sanders. And we're talking, I've got Frank Thomas, Griffey Jr., Bonds, and Deion Sanders hits the 520-footer. Yeah, they are meme-worthy. It's my favorite baseball game ever, though. It's not even close. I think Winning Run for Super Nintendo is probably my second favorite game. But again, not close to that one. And that was like one of the first games I can remember with like in-depth trading and free agency and the Sports Wire and all that stuff where you could follow other teams' transactions and shit. Good times. Usually just once a week. Like when I'm training my normal shit, it's a squat day, a bench day, a deadlift day, and a fluff and buff day. Right now it's kind of up in the air as to what I'm going to do on a given day. But yeah, once I started squatting, 600 right around there, that's when I started squatting once a day. If you get enough volume in, once a week is plenty. I mean, it's not like I'm not doing nothing lower body the rest of the time. There's a deadlift day too, and there's accessories involved with each of those. So, there's plenty of work that gets put in there. Sometimes a squat variation is a deadlift accessory, so I guess in that sense it would be twice a week, but just the back squat just once. Yeah, NHL 99 was fucking legit. What was it? 94, I played probably the most. I've got Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey on Nintendo 64. Nah, fluff and buff, bro. That's what we call it. Fluff and buff. Never done pin presses. R.I.P. Ricky Potatoes. I did. Jason Mike's fucking nasty. And he can dunk a basketball. That's life goals. Benching 600, drug tested, and dunking a basketball. Fucking life goals. No, I don't do floor presses either. I do bench press, I do Larson presses, I do close grip bench press. I've done incline press in the past, and I do some overhead pressing now, but that's really all I do with pressing and push presses. And I've done log like once every 6 months for the last year. What do you think about doing a lift 5x3x5, then doing it again, like 10 by 5 to 10 reps or whatever? Izzy says concurrent crane elements stop working for advanced lifters. I mean, it's there's a lot of things that work and don't work, and a lot of people have done things that work, and then other people have done things that work better. Some people have done things that don't work for 90% of people, but for whatever reason it worked for them. So do what's fun, do what's going to keep you in there the most, you know, and keep you training the hungriest, the hardest, the most consistent. So at the end of the day, you know, you got your genetics you're born with. You've got the ability to take drugs if that's what you're into. And then you've got your work ethic are probably the top three things. Programming, which is still important, is not nearly as important as those three things I mentioned. Just my opinion. I have seen Kevin Oakes 11-foot broad jump. He's a freak. He was a track and field guy. Track and field guys, a lot like Bugenhagen, I hold in high regard for being a D1 wrestler. Like being a D1 track and field guy, I also hold in very high regard as far as being an athlete. You know, he's an athlete. Powerlifting does not make you an athlete, but there are athletes who compete in powerlifting. What do I think about JM presses? I've never done them, so I don't know. I would imagine box jumps probably do carry over to standing long jump. Can you train your vert? Sure. I mean, again, just like with powerlifting, like with weightlifting, your genetics are going to limit you to how far you can go, but you can certainly train it. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube of people who've trained their vert. Does it annoy me when people say squats are overrated? I mean, I think that's a dumb statement. Squats are probably the single greatest lower body exercise you can do for strength building, for mass building, for overall performance anywhere. Yeah, I would say, yeah, they annoy me. Fuck people who say squats are overrated. What's the best squat replacement? Fuck if I know. Look, I'm not an expert. I'm not super dogmatic in how you should train. I can give examples of how I've trained and what worked, and I certainly have opinions on some things, but like them super in-depth, should I train this, should I train that, how will this affect that, whatever. I know how to get strong. Like I said, genetics, the choice of using drugs, hard work, those three are the biggest factors on wherever you're going to go and whatever physical endeavor you pursue. Yeah, people shouldn't call powerlifters and bodybuilders athletes. I resort to that statement I made. Athletes can be powerlifters and bodybuilders, but being one of those things does not make somebody an athlete at all. Do I think Alex can bench 300 at this point? He'd be close. I would imagine when he was heavier he could. At this very moment right now, I don't know. It'd be close. It's a crapshoot. Maybe, maybe not. Do I think hip size and rib cage size have an influence on strength development? I have no fucking clue. I mean, I guess a bodybuilder would be a little more closer to the definition of an athlete than a chess player, just because there's some physicality involved. But yes, definitely not an athlete just because somebody bodybuilds. I would just tell the trainers at your gym to, that you know what you're doing and you will ask them for help if you need it. I'm sure you signed a waiver or something, so the gym's not liable if you hurt yourself. Pro gamers are athletes now. Now that said, good job pro gamers. I would love to be a pro gamer and get paid to play video games. That would be fucking great. I mean, I guess powerlifting is a sport. I don't know. It's close. I guess you don't have to be an athlete to play a sport. I think some people would argue that squat depth is subjective these days, even though there's an objective rule in the book. But that's neither here nor there. Awesome gym ignorant trainers. Yeah, just, I mean, the first couple times you say, hey, I got it, leave me alone, should be enough. How much band resistance can you behind the neck Jefferson block pull? The world will never know. Look, I have a hard time calling anybody who's not like running full speed, jumping, shit like that an athlete. I guess strongmen certainly, if we're making like an order of who's the closest to being an athlete, it would probably be like CrossFitters, weightlifters, strongmen, powerlifting, bodybuilding, in that order of who is the closest to an athlete in their competitive fields. I'm not talking about like recreational shit. I'm talking about like the people who compete at the highest level. Yeah, I see those hexagon plates on videos and I cringe. I would hate to have to use those. Save my beard? Shave my beard. Well, I did shave it recently. It was like way down here. This is where the wife likes it, so this is where I like it. Yeah, spend an entire day inside with either Alex or Jason Blaha shirtless. Who would you choose? It would probably depend on my mood for the day. So that could go either way. Really wide bench. Guess if that feels good for you. My grip's moved in gradually over the years. I used to be index finger on the ring. Now I'm pinky just inside the ring. You like Jason Blaha? Does that make you a douche? You're involved in some form of the YouTube fitness community. I think that's what makes you a douche. Just being in this environment as a standalone. Who you like notwithstanding. Further the arm distance out, lock out the middle of the left chest. He's a tough guy in alpha male. Holy shit. When am I getting into MMA? Probably never. Probably never. Too old to learn new things. Yeah, I've trained high more than a few times. I love doing cardio high. Not really a big fan of lifting heavy high, but I've done it a couple times. So, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's just not my preference. But cardio, yeah, all day long. All day long. I've never had Isle of Jura whiskey. Look, like I'm really set in my ways. Like I said, I'm old. I don't do new stuff, so I drink Hennessy. If I'm out ordering cocktails, I drink top shelf Long Island iced teas. I drank tequila last year. I was with some Mexicans. We were drinking. They had tequila, so I drank tequila because when in Rome. But other than that, like the last 5 years, it's either been top shelf Long Island iced teas or Henny. When's the last time I took my wife on a date? It's been probably a month or so. I almost got in a fight, so I haven't been back out with her since. What kind of music do I like? I like rap, like early 90s to early 2000s rap, R&B from the same era, soul music from the late 70s on up. I like really girly pop music, and I really like 80s pop music a lot. So there's a chance I'll be listening to DMX. There's a chance I'll be listening to Cyndi Lauper. There's a chance I'll be listening to Ace of Base. Just a mixed bag. Maybe some Luther Vandross. Like Low Pump and 6ix9ine, if the shit comes on the gym radio, it's cool. I wouldn't sit down and listen to them, but it's cool at the gym, I guess. What will it take to become the master of Jefferson block pulls? Don't know, don't care. Stupid cat. Kitty cat's all up on my shit. Yeah, we went to like the one little local club here. Long story short, she had went out a couple weeks before. Thought some dude slipped something in her drink and tried to take her keys. Like her friend had to bring her back home. So, saw that guy there the night I was out. And I was doing my thing, like I wasn't even fucking with dude. And she was outside, and he walked outside and got close to her, and I saw red, so I put him up against a pillar outside and told him he wasn't allowed to fucking be near her. Like I literally pointed at all the other dudes outside. I was like, he can go near, he can go near, he can go near, you can't go near her. And then people pulled us apart. Fun times. Henley row initiating pull with shoulder slack close to ground or tight lock scapulas as on bench. I mean, I always try to stay tight when I'm doing whatever I'm doing, but I don't really do Henley rows a lot, so. Vertical shins are good for deadlift. I don't care what anybody says. I have a hard time keeping my shins vertical. Yeah, Alpha Destiny probably does have all the answers. I could get down with Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga. I wouldn't be upset if it came on my gym radio. Not one bit. Well, my wife is pretty strong herself, so she doesn't like pussies. Ow, cat. Asshole. Yeah, I guess what they call pulling the slack out. I'm kind of hit or miss with that part too. No, vertical shins doesn't have to make it a stiff leg deadlift. You get that good lifter's wedge with the vertical shins. My wife pinches my glutes. That's about it. What do I do to get stronger triceps? I bench more. That's about it. Maybe do some close grip. I've not seen him naked on the subreddit, so I'm not gonna speculate. Maybe he was having a good time. Who knows? Where's LeBron going? I'm going to go with a consensus and say he's going to LA. Is my persona an actor or is it natural me? It's probably heightened a little bit for social media, but it's not like I don't fake myself on here. Maybe I get a little amped up more than in real life on some of the videos, especially the rant videos. I pretend to care a little more than I actually do just because it's fun to put out a ranty video. But, I mean, like I said, it's more an extension of me, not a act of something else. I mean, that's what everybody's saying. It's a big name team. They'll be able to draw other free agents. They've got a lot of salary cap room. They've got, what's his face there? Big baller brand, Lonzo. They already make a cute nickname, LeBronzo. So, the marketing writes itself. That would be hilarious if he ended up on Golden State, dude. I would fucking die. Like him, Durant, and Curry, and Klay Thompson, Jesus Christ. If LeBron went to Golden State and they didn't go undefeated, they would have a disappointing season. That would just be fucking ridiculously stacked. But the thing is, I wouldn't put it past LeBron to take the minimum. I don't think he'll take the minimum, but he makes so much endorsement money that he could afford to if so he wanted. I think it's unlikely, but you never know. Never know, but doubtful. Highly, highly doubtful. I heard it was a good fight. I didn't watch it, but I heard Romero didn't make weight though, right? I mean, he lost anyway, but... What sports am I into? I like basketball a lot. I like playing basketball a whole lot. Football. I don't watch baseball as much as I used to. MMA is cool. Soccer's cool. I like just about all sports, really. I like track and field. I don't follow every sport closely, but it's something like if I'm flipping the channels on TV, there's a sport on, I can generally watch it. Can you get a body like Yoel Romero? I doubt it. Alpha Destiny wears elevated platform shoes in public. Jesus. Damn, broken knee in the first exchange and still went all 5. That's fucking savage. I heard CM Punk got them hands. Yeah, I didn't see none of the fights last night. None of them. Canelo versus McGregor on the street, McGregor. Is tallness height important for men to attract females? Certainly something they look at. It's not the be-all, end-all, but I'd rather be tall than not. Still wearing the girdle. Canelo might be a cheap shotter, but I'm going to take the trained MMA guy over the trained boxer in a street fight. Yes, I do know about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So ask me the fun. Now, I'm not an expert on him, but yes, I know who he is. I played FIFA, bro. Conor McGregor beats me. There's a small chance I get him in a bear hug and lay down, but in this case, his skill far outweighs my strength and size advantage, I would imagine. He's a professional. He's the top professional for a reason. What do I think about Taekwondo? It's a cool exhibition sport, an exhibition art. But it doesn't seem very effective in actual combat. Canelo probably knocks me the fuck out. Yeah, I'm gonna almost always pick a highly trained fighter over myself. I'm just a strong fat guy that can move a little bit. I think my size and strength might help me last longer than a twink, but ultimately I would lose the fight. Liquor, then wine, then beer, in that order. The soccer player, he did a light jump, set foot on ground, snapped his knee backwards, broke 2 to 3 tendons. Why did he hurt himself so bad? Isn't he an athlete at his old age? Fuck if I know, dude. That's, again, beyond my realm of knowledge. I know playing sports, anything can happen at any time. You've seen quarterbacks in the NFL drop back and nobody touch them and rupture their Achilles. So, don't know. Little Pacquiao versus Freaky D. Again, trained fighters. I'm going to go with the trained fighter almost every time. Slight chance I bear hug him and fall on top of him. That's it. I can see the logic in taking like a strength athlete and maybe converting them and training them, you know, like in wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a year and a ground game, maybe making them viable to hold their own against somebody many weight classes below them. I think there's some value in that, but again, trained fighting skill in a fight takes way more importance than, you know, size and strength. I think the fight questionnaires and stuff, they're interesting questions. You know, and what we do is physical. We're not necessarily training for combat, but in the broader sense of things, you know, a stronger or fitter or person with more endurance certainly has an edge over another untrained fighter who doesn't train anything physical. So it's a reach, but, you know, we all wonder these things. Yeah, but I'd rather have boxing than nothing. You know, it's the same with any martial art, really. If it's you against somebody completely untrained, I'd rather be trained in at least one thing than nothing at all. Butt winking on squats. I don't know that a little bit of butt wink is completely terrible, but again, not a physiology, kinesiology expert, so don't take my word for it. But I've seen a lot of people successfully get away with some amount of butt wink in the squat and never ever have problems. Size and strength matters in a fight when fighting a manlet. Certainly, like I said, I think against McGregor, my size and strength would allow me to last maybe a little bit longer than a smaller person with a similar skill set, but I would ultimately still think Conor McGregor would kick my ass. Hap Thor versus Conor. I think Thor takes that one. Now his size and strength is so much greater than Conor. Conor's shot would be getting like a heel hook or something sneaky in real quick on Hap Thor, but it would be like when the Mountain fought what's his name, Elio Martel in Game of Thrones. He was definitely outskilled, but he still got the last laugh. Will I ever cut down to 15% body fat? Probably not. I don't know what percent body fat I'll get to when I get done with powerlifting, but like I've said on here before, I have goals that involve like sprinting and jumping and things like that, and I will use that to motivate me to lose weight because I'm not a physique guy. Whatever body fat that brings me to, it brings me to. And certainly the lower the body fat, the better those performance numbers potential would be. Holy shit. I'm not sure on the Bill Starr thing there. Do I think Alpha Destiny will do MMA soon? If so, how fast do you think he would be world champion in the welterweight division? I don't see him as an MMA guy. Really don't. When, at what point do you start sacrificing health for improved performance? That's going to be highly individual. You know, again, if you want to be as good as you can be at powerlifting or bodybuilding, you're going to have to sacrifice health. And that lies in the eyes of the beholder. You know, do you feel like sacrificing health to be a slightly above average powerlifter or bodybuilder, or is that not worth it to you? Would you have to be an elite or top 5 for you to make that switch and really jump it in gear? My line, as far as that goes, is steroids. That's the one last thing I'm not willing to do. Like, I'm willing to get fat, you know, potentially risk injury performing lifts, but, you know, I've not had it in me to go to that next level, you know, with AAS. So we've all got our line where we draw it. Like I said, mine's getting fat to get strong. It's what I do. Clarence Kitty or Bugenhagen? I would take Bugenhagen. Again, NCAA D1 wrestler, Big Ten school. I take him over almost every YouTube fitness personality. Kinobody versus Blaha. I'm taking Blaha. I think he outsizes him, outstrengths him, takes him down, ground and pounds him. How eager would I be to see a fight between Alpha Destiny and Francis Ngannou? It wouldn't be much of a fight, so not something I'd really be eager to see. I mean, he'd get beat up. We'd all go, haha, he got beat up, but that would be it. I do all kinds of cardio, bro. I know I'll forever be a beta bitch. Riding that natty gain train. I mean, ISOs, you know, a bigger muscle has a potential to be a stronger muscle. They certainly have their place in training. You're not going to ever emphasize them over your compounds, but I don't think they're a waste of time either. Bicep shot. Twist my wrist a few times. There's nothing there to see. I mean, if you want to see my lack of bicep, there it is. 0 arms. World's smallest arms for a 500-pound bench presser. Blaha's gas talking in the camera. Never seen him run or anything. Big surprise. I remember when he was doing the recumbent bike in the living room while he played World of Warcraft or whatever it was. Greatest bodybuilder of all time. Who has the most Arnolds or Olympias or whatever? Whatever's the, I guess it would be Olympias. Don't know. Arnold's my favorite bodybuilder of all time, if that means anything, and that's because he was a movie star. And I knew Terminator Arnold before I ever knew Arnold the bodybuilder. It's too alpha to run on a treadmill on camera. I've never tried heavy grippers. Sure haven't. I mean, I didn't know Dolph Lundgren was a bodybuilder, actually. I like him in movies. He plays that villain role good. So, yeah, I like him. I'm a bigger fan of the old school look as well. I'm not really into today's mass monsters, I guess they call it. But, you know, sports evolve. It is what it is. It's what you got to do to win. My favorite video game? Gosh, that's tough. I've played so many. I mean, Super Mario World for Super Nintendo stands out. One of my favorites. I don't know if I could really pick just a single favorite video game. Maybe Bubble Bobble for NES. Trying to do process of elimination in my head. That might be my favorite. We'll just go with that for now. Bubble Bobble. His weight would collapse the fucking treadmill. I know at my weight, treadmills don't like me a whole lot, so I stick to the elliptical machine. You would run me at GoldenEye. You know, I've not even played it in a long time. I've got it over there by my Nintendo 64. I'd be that dick that would pick Odd Job, though. No, weed is not legal in my state. I live in the Bible Belt, more or less, so we're probably not going to see it legalized here anytime soon. Heard Super Mario and just joined. If you had to stop doing one of the big 3 exercises forever, what would it be? Deadlifts, because I like bench and squats far better than I like deadlifts. Happy for you, David. Yeah, I saw Alex's latest video, and I don't know. It's one of those things. Seems like he either got high for the first time or he got laid for the first time and then made that video. He's really doing good appealing to the younger, we want to do whatever we want. We're too lazy to actually do competition crowds, and we're not driven in that manner. So he's doing well marketing himself. I'll give him that much. Yeah, that Odd Job ROM though. Best training system without caloric surplus? What the why? I don't know. It's a weird question. I mean, I understand why you would want to know an answer to that question, but I don't have an answer to give you. I just don't like doing deadlifts. That's what it comes down to for me. Like, what would I rather perform? I would rather perform squats or bench press. So, has not even anything to do with if I think a lift is more effective or not. It's just if I got to get rid of one of them for life and I can only do the other two, I'm going to do the two that I like the most. I mean, like I said, gun to my head, I would pick that he was a virgin too. He does give off that vibe. West South. You know, I mean, everybody changes, which is fine. You know, I certainly, as a 32-year-old, think a lot differently than I did as a 22-year-old. That was different than I thought as a 16-year-old. So, you know, holding people to their past is something I don't really believe in. But I think it seems like in his case, he's just, you know, found that niche market, and he appeals to a certain crowd who happens to be very much like him, and there happens to be large numbers of that crowd. So, whatever, like I said, he's marketing himself well. Injury, as far as lifting's involved, I've never really had major injuries. I sprained my wrist one time. I fell down doing box jumps. I kind of strained my back a little one time at a meet, but no big injuries there. Going back to like playing sports, I broke my ribs playing baseball. I got hit with a baseball bat and broke my ribs. I broke my ribs once riding a bicycle, and I've sprained my right ankle 3 times in like a year to the point where it's permanently larger than my left ankle from playing basketball. But I've been fortunate with lifting to not suffer any major injuries really at all. The virgin vibe, it's, you know, like there was always that one kid in school that was like, oh yeah, I had sex with a girl, and you'd be like, what girl? And they'd be like, oh man, you don't know her. It was at summer camp. She don't go to this school. That's the virgin vibe. Right now, 3 to 5 days, 3 lifting days, which it looks like I snuck in some lifting today while my wife and son were taking a nap. I usually don't go to the gym on Sundays, but they were napping and I couldn't sleep, so I might get in 4 days this week. But usually 3 lifting days, and then I do cardio on my lifting days, and then I also do cardio on my 2 off days. So I try to get in 5 days a week in that sense. When I'm training specific powerlifting, it's 4 days a week. It's a squat day, a bench day, a deadlift day, and a fluff and buff day. When did I lose the V card? When I was 12 years old in middle school. Middle school bathroom, girl named Janice. Ag building, like, best 30 seconds of my life up to that point. Good times. Then I didn't have sex again for like 4 years. So, yeah. I got lucky. I got lucky. There's no way around it. Like, I wasn't smooth or anything. Just got lucky. And mind you, like, I started going through puberty in 4th grade, so I had chest hair and shit in middle school. Like, I had underarm hair when I was 12. Already started a mustache. 30 seconds, give or take. We weren't timing it, but yeah. My fluff and buff day would generally be like 135 on the bench for a few sets of 20, some really light dumbbell hammer curl work, maybe some really light incline press, some light leg press. A lot of things in that 15 to 20 rep range, kind of full body, but nothing hard. Was she pissed? That we lost our virginity together, so neither one of us had expectations of what was what. The internet was very young back then. We weren't walking around with cell phones and Pornhub, so it just kind of was what it was. I think 2 to 3 full workouts a week. The third day, I'm supposed to be doing fluff and buff conditioning shit and active recovery, while the other 2 are hard and serious. I mean, I'm sure that's perfectly fine. I like full body training in regards to it being fun and being able to get a lot done. I certainly think for maximizing strength, it's probably not the best way, but what you're doing, there's no reason not to be. No, I'm sure being smooth does help. I'm just saying I wasn't smooth. I got lucky as fuck. Knew a guy who had armpit hair in 4th grade. Yeah, hi. You know another guy. Thoughts about Star Wars, and I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I wore protection. I knew to wear condoms. Like, my dad had instilled in me, and so did my mom. Like, we'd have the talk and everything, so I did wear protection. What age did I start earning money? I was 15 when I got my first job, changing tires on semi-trucks. You think darkness is my ally? I don't think I get the gist of your question there. Probably going over my head. The worst powerlifting injury ever? Yeah, Brandon Lilly's knees are pretty bad. I don't know. I've seen some pec tear videos that look bad. And of course, there's always the biceps tearing on deadlift videos are pretty bad too. I don't go to failure very often. If I go to failure, it's like with a really light weight and really high reps. But as far as like my working sets, I generally don't go to failure. Matter of fact, like, again, regards to what a lot of you guys have been seeing, because a lot of you guys are new to me, since, you know, the whole shit went down, how I'm training now is not how I typically train for powerlifting. When I am in powerlifting training mode, I almost never, ever, ever go to failure at all with anything. That was a Bane quote. I don't watch a lot of movies, so a lot of those things will go over my head. Sure, I'd play the hill on Game of Thrones. Why not? Yeah, I worked for a trucking company, and I worked at the terminal, and that was my job, was changing tires. And when there wasn't tires to change, I was the shop bitch, so sweeping up the floor and shit like that, going and getting lunch for the mechanic and dispatchers and terminal manager and that kind of stuff. No, but again, like, I usually train submaximal anyway. And for somebody whose emphasis is on gaining strength, there's really not a good reason to go to failure. Even like when I do AMRAPs, I AMRAP to technical failure. Like when form starts to break down, that's when I'll stop whatever I'm doing if I'm programmed in AMRAP for that lift. I don't go to absolute failure. Do I think 3x5 or 3x8 to 10 is better for maintaining size with losing 50 pounds? Not the one to ask there. When I cut weight, I don't even worry about retaining strength. I just try to get stronger again when I'm done cutting and be stronger than I was the last time when I was at a certain weight. I just concede that I'm going to lose strength when I cut weight. So I try to work on weak areas that I can improve and technical areas I can improve when I'm cutting. I did not see the roast of E-Shred. I don't... Jeff Cavalier, that's the Athlete X guy, right? I'm trying to keep up with who these guys are. When I quit powerlifting, yes, I'm going to cut down when I quit powerlifting. I definitely, like, I know the weight I'm at now is not good for long-term health, and it is taking a strategic risk, I guess you would call it, being larger right now. Again, 35, if I've not hit powerlifting goals by the time I'm 35, I will concede that I'm not going to hit them and cut down weight. The only thing I worry about is if, like, right when I'm at that 35-year-old mark and I hit this super great total and I leave some on the platform, like it could have been a better total, that would be awfully tempting. But for now, that's the plan. 35, cut down, get healthy, more athletic goals to motivate me to get healthy. High volumes of triples on bench, if that's what your training block calls for. There's no, like, one right good way to train. Look into phase potentiation. I really buy into that a lot as far as having a conditioning block and then, you know, transitioning to volume blocks, to strength blocks, to power blocks, to peaking, etc. I don't remember what Elgin's numbers are, but last I remembered he was pretty strong for his size, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he deadlifted over 4 plates or 5 plates. Don't remember. Have I tried fasting for cutting? Jay-Z, there's a playlist on my channel that's from my cut from last year. Whenever I do cut, I use intermittent fasting. I've used it twice. I think in 2015, I cut maybe a little over 50 pounds in 4 or 5 months. And then, the end of 2015, early 2016. And then 2017, I used intermittent fasting to cut 47 pounds or so, give or take. It's just my favorite way to diet because it lets me have a very large meal right before I go to bed. And I like going to bed on a full stomach. And it also allowed me to keep a lot of my carbs, you know, in and around training time, which, you know, helps a lot with performance and not feeling super fatigued when cutting weight. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, I know life is way more important than powerlifting, but to hit the goals I want to hit in powerlifting, it requires me to be unhealthy. So it is what it is right now. And I know, you know, I'll have to give up a lot of the strength I've built when I do make that cut, which is why I've got these other goals in mind, these more athletic goals, because it gives me something else to work towards, because numbers on scales and physique really doesn't intrigue me at all. Yeah, I've seen Cope Destiny. Very entertaining. Very entertaining. Vince G and Vegan Gains versus Alex and Blaha. That's a good matchup. Oh, goodness. I'm going to take Vince G and Vegan Gains in that one. Yeah, I think I could break 600 naturally, but again, it would require getting very large, and I don't think I'm willing to get as big as I would need to. I think last meet peak I was good for 550. Meet conditions, it didn't happen, but you know, all my training up to that point, I'm usually pretty spot on. I should have been good for 550, and it's something where, like, if I did a bench only, I'm confident I would have hit 550. So I think that's doable at 308 for me. Much more than that, I don't know. It's again, before I'm 35, maybe, just maybe, I'll get an itch to do something like that and try to bulk to 350 temporarily to see if I could hit like a 600 bench. But I don't know. Like, I get super uncomfortable, especially going into that last meet. I got up to like 315 pounds. And life outside the gym was getting pretty miserable. I think 3 Alpha Destinies is a fair assessment. I could probably beat up 3. Do I believe you can bench 315 at 185 in a few years? Certainly. I believe in you, bruh. Yeah, 4's probably pushing it. That's 1 for each limb. I think 3's probably the limit. And if we fought 10 times, you know, I wouldn't win all 10. I have no idea how much I could bench in a year if I started taking 2 grams of test a week. Certainly more than I can now, but, you know, people respond to that stuff differently. The one advantage I have is my appetite is fucking never ending, so I could put some calories to good use. I mean, I think theoretically, you know, 600 would be possible at that point at 308, given a year of steroids, assuming I respond to it pretty well. Could I beat Eric Bugenhagen in a wrestling match? If WWE booked it as such, I could. In an amateur wrestling match, he would fucking kill me. What did Blaha squat in competition when he was over in United Kingdom? I honestly don't remember. Yeah, there's always fight talk in these streams. B. Johnson. Good evening. I'm not even going to try to butcher your name, HH. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Blaha did squat over 500 when he was in the UK. Seems like I remember that much anyway. Oh, Ice Cream Fitness. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm for sure, but it just seems like it's familiar. Andre the Giant could probably take 6 Alpha Destinies easy. Yeah, that's one thing I don't like about Blaha is I think he has the natty standards a little too low because of what he lifts. I really think this 225-pound overhead press benchmark is fucking stupid. Like, sure, it's a decent overhead press, but people are so enamored with a fucking 2-plate overhead press, and maybe it's being, you know, spoiled training with strong people and being around strong people. But I don't know, it just doesn't seem that impressive to me. Yeah, Andre the Giant was a freak. Yeah, David, yeah, it's not. And I just don't get why that's such a big deal on the internet. Funny enough, like, I have 2 videos. One's labeled 315 overhead press, where I strict overhead pressed it, but I didn't start off my clavicle. I started it at 90 degrees. But I just labeled it 315 OHP, and then I've got a video labeled 225-pound OHP, where I rep it 15 times, but I don't label it 15 reps. And guess which video has thousands of more views than the other? It's not the one that starts with a 3. Standards should be higher, and I'm not saying a 225-pound overhead press is weak per se. I'm just saying that it's not like ridiculously strong either. Like, it's put up on this pedestal that I don't think it should be on. There's fat old man at Gold's Gym I go who rep 225 straight. Yeah, it don't surprise me. Especially old guys, though. Old guys are all about some fucking pressing. Prophet, I guess I'm just spoiled with what gyms I've been to and who I've trained with and who I associate with. So, again, it's one of those things. It's not that you're weak. It's not a weak lift. It's just not impressive to me. Do I think 225 OHP is greater than 315 pot? It's apples to oranges. Neither one of those I find super impressive. I'll put it that way. I will not call either one of them weak, but I don't think either one of those are super impressive either. If you're trying to stay lean and natty, again, if you're trying to stay lean, then you're not getting as strong as you can be anyway. So just because there's a qualifier there doesn't make it more impressive or less impressive to me. Like, if a guy goes and overhead presses 315 pounds, if a fat guy does it, if a lean guy does it, they both just press 315 overhead press 315 pounds. I don't know. I guess I look at the performance of lifts closer than I look at the entire picture, because I really don't care about the entire picture. I just care about the performance. And, you know, I'll say, like, I went to a commercial gym before I started going to the gym I'm going to now. And when I would be warming up for bench, when I would have 2 plates on just warming up, like, everybody would stop and stare. And then lo and behold, you get 4 plates on there. And then everybody's all like, ooh, ah. And then at the gym I train at now, nobody really gives a fuck. Unless you get 5 plates on there, then people start, you know, matriculating to the bench press. But, you know, it is what it is. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with commercial gyms anymore. If you gotta stay lean for the sluts, man, I feel you, dude. I'm happily married, and fortunately, being lean never meant nothing to any of the girls I've ever been with, so I'll drink to that one. Sure, I would have pulled different girls if I was lean, but hey. Oh. Full body with pressing as a 3rd or 4th movement is a problem? No. Like, you would put pressing last more than likely if you're doing full body. Yeah, ice cream truck rolling through. Yeah, like I said, thankfully I don't have to deal with the average gym goer no more. Oh, I mean, you know, my bench press, I even get kudos, you know, amongst my peers for my bench press, so I'm happy about that. But I understand the standards between a commercial gym and an actual gym, like, and I'm just thankful that the people I associate with now and who I'm immersed with aren't impressed with that commercial gym shit, and the standards are set higher when you go to a gym like I go to. Social media has changed the sleuths. I'm sure it has. I've got a good credit score and a nice bank account, so happily married, but if something went down, not worried about it. Yeah, I'm down with the whole, like, the power building thing, the phase potentiation, you know, working from conditioning to volumes to strength to power to peaking. I think, yeah, that's a very successful way, especially long term, to make gains. I wouldn't consider you an average gym goer. You just have average gym goer numbers right now, but I'm sure you're working on that. That's what separates the commercial bros from the people actually in there getting it done. We all started somewhere, dude. Couldn't imagine pulling sleuths without the tender machine. It was a different time back then. It's no big deal. Get a little liquid courage and you shoot your shot in person. I'm sure the success-failure rate's probably similar. Yes, I do. I love linear periodization. It is my favorite way to train for getting results. It's not always the most fun, but for progressing and getting results, I will always go to linear progression. Yeah, Muhammad, that's good to have somebody like that to push you. The standards are set too low, in my opinion. I think it's a lot of people are trying to pander to the larger crowd, and people are making money doing this for a living, so I see why they're doing that. But yeah, standards are set too low. LOL at linear periodization. There's no single style you use all. Well, yeah, right now I'm just going in the gym and having fun, but when I'm training for specific for powerlifting, I always resort and go back to linear periodization. It's because it's easiest to track. It's produced the best results for me in the past. And like I said, it's boring, but you know, whatever, it has worked. One guy training 20 years using Tren and can barely hit 3 plates on the bench. Sucks to be him. Yeah, I don't remember seeing Blaha pulling 6 plates ever. Do you think the statement that you're never going to gain tons of muscle naturally is also just promoting low standards? You're never going to gain as much muscle as you could using drugs while being natural, but to say you'll never gain tons of muscle is highly individual and based on genetics. There's going to be some people who, you know, build muscle ridiculously easy without drugs. There are going to be some people who use drugs and will still never build a ridiculous amount of muscle. So that while that statement may hold true for some individuals, yes, it's also promoting low standards. You don't know how much muscle you're going to build until you put in years of work and years of training. And if your diet's not on point 100%, if your training's not on point, if your rest isn't on point, you're never going to know. All the guys at my gym are on gear and literally stop people in the middle of a set to try to change their programming uniform. Sounds like typical gym douches. How many scoops of whey do I use a day? None right now. I drink liquid egg whites for my protein shake. Yeah, 4 plates in a commercial gym's gonna always attract a lot of attention. I've never read the 531 book either, but I don't hate on it. I've watched people use it with success. And from what I've seen, it's not a lot different than how I train. Again, when I'm training for powerlifting, so many new people now who haven't seen me, you know, prep for a meet or anything like that. When I first deadlifting 315 at a commercial gym, people were impressed. Yeah, I'm 5'11". Good arm building advice from the gym douches, no doubt. Look at Instagram, see people on PEDs posting 5-plate deadlifts, hulking around at 220 or more. There's a big contrast between roided Instagram strength versus others. I think there's a, you know, social media provides such a wide variety of things that, you know, in one instance, you know, standards can be too low, and then in another instance, you know, you can literally see 900-pound squats and, you know, by multiple people in a day and watch them over and over and brainwash yourself to the point of thinking, you know, anything short of 900 is not impressive. So there's give and take on both ends. I have never had my natural testosterone levels checked. If I needed hormone replacement therapy from a doctor, would you be willing to do it? Right now, no. I still want to compete in tested federations, and honestly, I'm not sure because I've never looked into it, so I don't know what feds would allow it or what feds wouldn't allow it, if it was doctor prescribed. So, without knowing that, I would definitely say no right now until I'm done competing in said federations. Maybe when I'm older and not competing anymore, and it would be the smart choice for my health, then certainly I'd consider it. Nope, definitely not 6'4", 5'11". Blaha versus Dairyland strength in a fight. Who do I got? I'm going to take Dairyland. I'm going to take his association with Bugenhagen over Blaha's association with the CIA. Kevin Oaks only 5'11". I didn't know that neither. Again, it's, camera angles. Like, now I don't look as big. Now I look like a fucking giant. So it's really hard to tell somebody's actual size on camera. Right now I compete in both the RPS and 100% Raw, with 100% Raw being the tested fed. RPS does tested for the amateur divisions, which I've signed up for amateur divisions. And then I hit my first total as an amateur, and they were like, you can't compete as an amateur anymore. You have to compete pro or elite amateur. And the place I compete at an RPS, it's in my hometown, it's at my gym. He doesn't have the shit to do drug tests, so I just compete as a pro because with my numbers they won't let me compete as an amateur. So I compete in 100% Raw is the tested fed I compete in. And of the, how many times have I competed there now? I think 5 or 6 times I've competed in 100% Raw, and I've been drug tested at literally every meet. Even last meet I was there, I volunteered. I was like, hey, will you guys drug test me? And they were like, oh, we were going to drug test you anyway, bro. Don't worry about it. Zach, I compete against people on gear and RPS. So, yeah, it's not really that big deal. I compete open. I compete tested. I like to have fun and compete. So, no big deal. Why does James Strickland always bomb so bad at meets? James Strickland is insanely strong. I think he puts too much into lifting for the gram, lifting for Facebook, lifting for YouTube. And I think he peaks too early and he hits these big gym lifts and then doesn't do so hot in the meet. Just my personal opinion. Dude's strong as fuck. I'm taking Khabib to beat McGregor. Dude's a fucking animal. Yeah, I think Strickland just now, it's not been long that he's squatted more than he's benched, right? If I'm not mistaken. Of course, when you're benching fucking mid-600s. Holy shit. 6'1" Asian, basically a skyscraper here in Asia. I bet you are. I'd like to go over there just so I'm bigger. I'd really like to visit Japan one day, and I don't even know if it would be fun. It's just something I've always wanted to do since my childhood. I've just been too much of a bitch to get on an airplane, but maybe I'll head over there in the next few years. A lot of Norwegians in North Dakota, that doesn't surprise me. Fearless 200, is that the small Asian guy that did that has that viral video? David, I just hope Toby puts it where it needs to be on meet day. Some of his squats have been a little high lately, which I've told him that. I talk to Toby a lot. Well, not a lot, not as much as we used to, but we've PM'd here lately a time or two. Hope he does well, though. I like Toby. He's somebody else and I've told him before, I think Toby would benefit insanely from having a coach for a whole year and sticking to that coach's program. I think Toby would go really far. He's somebody else who I think leaves too much in the gym and doesn't really peak good for meet day like he should be. I don't think you'd need to drop squat and deadlift to really focus on your bench. Maybe de-emphasize them some and just try to maintain them, but I wouldn't drop them all together and just do a bench-only training cycle. Again, I'd look at maybe adding a bench day. I don't know what your bench training looks like, but you can certainly not focus on them as hard, but I wouldn't get rid of them altogether. I think that's stupid. MEET day, bruh. Alpha Destiny versus roller coaster rides. Fuck, dude. Cheers. Oh, that was fucking good. Yeah, Toby does go crazy in the gym. Like I said, I really think he would benefit greatly from coaching and programming for a year. I think we would see that 800 deadlift, like a 650 plus squat, low 400s bench, and an 800 deadlift as a natural in competition in a year with good programming. In a year, not lifetime, just in a year. I think he has potential for some crazy numbers long term. I would just really like to see him train smarter. What are Nick Wright's powerlifting stats? I saw when he benched 400 or 405 or whatever, but I know he competed recently what he hit. I really don't follow a lot of these guys too closely. Alpha Destiny will probably never see me though. But I'll take that stink eye he can give. But that was fucking hilarious. What would I change about my channel if I had 100,000 subs? I had 100,000 subs. Why would I change anything? I have 100,000 subs. I did something right to get them. I'm sure there would be, like, probably more filler videos, because at the point of having 100,000 subs and there'd be significant income coming in, I would probably think about that more, I guess. So, yeah. More waste of time videos, something like that. The jumping work right now is just a side project. It's just for fun. I have no real goals with it right now other than to be better at it. I'm not looking at it to carry over. I'm not looking at it to be world class or anything. So, whatever. Thanks for doing this Q&A on your second channel, Phil. Fuck, you guys are killing me tonight. What age do I think is prime for a power lifter? I look at lifting in a similar sense as combat sports, whereas, you know, in combat sports, there's this theory that you've only got so many hits you can take. So, you know, if you start at 18 years old, maybe you're done in your lower 30s, but if you don't start till your late 20s or early 30s, maybe you can fight on into your 40s, and we've seen this happen with a few guys. I think it's similar with powerlifting. Like, if you don't start really training until your later 20s, you're going to peak later, and, you know, you start training in your teen years, you're going to peak sooner and probably, you know, start falling off sooner than somebody who started later. As far as what would be the prime age to start and see your best results, I'm sure starting younger and peaking, you know, mid-20s to 30 probably is going to be the sweet spot. Probably, just my opinion. But there's just so many variables involved in that. Do I consider Phil a strong guy? I wouldn't say he's weak, but I don't think he's strong either. I disagree with Mark Ribito 100% about not being able to train vertical jump. Certainly, some people are going to be born with better natural abilities, but there's a plethora of people on YouTube who have trained their vertical jump and with results backing their training. You know, guys who went from touching the bottom of the net to dunking a basketball while being the same exact height and weight. So yes, you can certainly train your vertical, but again, there's going to be genetic limitations onto how far it's going to go. Just like with powerlifting, you're going to be genetically limited to what your ultimate possible total is going to be. Yeah, Phil's just got that bone structure where he looks like, you know, he's stronger than he is. I looked on Phil's channel, and from what I saw, there was like a 455 deadlift that he struggled to get up, low 400 squat, and he struggled with a 315-pound bench. I think it's his 2017 highlights video is all the lifts I've seen. Like I said, his pull was like 455, and it looked like a struggle bus to lock out. If y'all are curious, just go to his channel or type Fit World Exposed 2017 highlights, and he's got a lot of conventional lifts on there, and they're honestly just not that impressive. Not a knock on him either, they're just not. I have been doing OHP for the last, I guess, 6 months now. I've been training it. My traps are a little bit bigger. I've not really noticed anything as far as upper chest and triceps. But I've definitely seen a little bit of trap growth from it. Funny how people don't realize you don't have to buy programs when you just get it for free on Reddit. Yeah, Prophet Fear, like I said, in that video, he's deadlifting 455, and it was, you know, definitely a struggle for him to lock it out. I think it's just how he's built. Like, he's just got a good build for it, for looking big. I don't do any weightlifting competitively. Right now I'm programming hang cleans in my programming, but no, I suck at cleans, I suck at snatches, and I've never done them with any real vigor, and I'm not good at them. I have no idea on tips for mobility for weightlifting. Wish I could help. Yeah, you know, I'm not a big fan of these people with these programs, but, you know, it's consumerism. If people are going to buy it and you're going to make money, whatever. I'll just say, instead of buying one of these shitty programs from somebody who's not really that qualified to be writing programs, there's a powerlifting book called 1020 Life, specifically the second edition. And if you're looking to learn how to get strong, how to program, shit like that, it is a fantastic book. And it's not $60. I think it's regular price. I think it's $29.99 or $34.99. I caught it on a Christmas sale last year for $19.99. So definitely a good book for getting strong. I just decide what I think I can do and go for it. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. From what I understand, Phil doesn't have any certification or education. He just has a following. Which, again, if his following buys from him, so be it. Do I think jerks and snatches are good enough shoulder work if I want them to look good? Why don't you look at, like, who the elite weightlifters are in your weight class and then look at their shoulders, and if their shoulders are a good enough look for you, then it's probably good enough. I've not read the Bill Starr book. I've not read any other books other than the 1020 Life, so I can't compare, but I can say the information in that book is pretty great. And the warm-up routine that's in the second edition that's written in conjunction with fuck, why can't I think of his name right now? Stuart McGill is awesome, and I think the $19.99 I paid, that warm-up routine was worth all $19.99, and the rest of the fantastic book was icing on the cake. Why do you need a real job when you can just sell programs? Exactly. Can't knock the hustle, I guess. Well, I would like to be smoking that green apple mango flavored crystallized obese fatty while sipping on 1976 scotch, but I'll take a drink of Henny to that. I think snatch grip is a great exercise for upper back. I assume the elite lifters are juiced and probably have above average shoulders regardless of training. I mean, I'll look at the American weightlifters. They're certainly not elite on the world level. And since the testing has come down harder, they've been placing a lot better. But American weightlifters at this point are likely clean, or if not clean, cleaner than some of the best in the world. So maybe look at some American weightlifters in your weight class. But that's my like go-to is, you know, if I want something to work for me and this is what I want to do, who's doing it currently that's close to my size, and then what are they doing with it in regardless to the goals I'm looking to get out of it. And that's usually a good baseline starter point. Well, I think certifications are probably overrated, but, you know, if you take somebody that went to school for, like, kinesiology or something like that, you know, that's probably going to hold a lot more weight than just some online cert. Unless you're going to go get that CT Fletcher cert. Best one in the game. How can I fix my hip shooting up too early in the squat? I don't know. Not a problem I've ever really had to deal with. Smoke weed and drink coffee, turn on Rocky motivational songs and just rip my body apart. That sounds like a fucking fantastic time. That's how a lot of my best cardio sessions have started. Now I want to smoke a blunt, drink a pot of coffee, and go downstairs and hit my punching bag. I should sell a parody program just for trolling purposes. That's a pretty fucking good idea. Pretty good idea. Sell a program called Unnaturally Enhanced and only talk about rack pull variations. Oh, what are my short-term goals and what's your general plan to achieve them? Honestly, right now, Alex, I don't have any goals whatsoever. Short-term. Long-term, I want to total 2,000 pounds in a powerlifting meet. I was literally this close to doing it last meet. I couldn't lock out my deadlift. So that's long-term. Right now, I'm just having fun in the gym. I'm taking an extended off-season. Have certain life circumstances going on that I can't really concentrate on powerlifting nor devote the time to it required. So just having fun, working on some things like some grip, you know, shit I can work on in the meantime without having to focus on powerlifting too hard, and stuff that should, in theory, make me better when I get back to powerlifting. Like, I've never really trained overhead press before, so I'm doing that because it's fun. I'm doing box jumps because they're fun. I'm certainly, you know, maintaining well on squats and bench. Deadlifts, I've been trying to learn how to deadlift with a belt on because I've never been able to do so before. And I'm doing sumo some. So, yeah. No, I guess short-term goals would be get more efficient at deadlifting with a belt on, and improve my grip strength short-term. 23andMe. Man, Maybe I'll do one day, maybe I won't. I think benching in a shirt would be fun. We have one at the gym. I think it's probably a little too big for me, but maybe I'll throw it on one day for funsies and see. Opinions on Bulgarian training seems to have worked for Jason Blaha, but you mentioned not being the biggest fan. I think it can be fine for peaking. I think as a year-round program, it's probably not so hot. It's not the best for building volume and stuff like that. And again, he's not doing... Nobody who's powerlifting is doing fucking true Bulgarian. But yeah, I don't think it's the most efficient way to train all the time. But, you know, for a 4-6 week peaking block, certainly could be great. And maybe if you're going to compete, you know, 2-3 times over 8 to 12 weeks, I certainly think it could be adjusted to help just maintain, you know, like 95% strength levels throughout the duration of those competitions. You should sell a program for $1,000, guarantee one person buys it. $1,000 isn't a lot of money, unfortunately. But it'd be $1,000 I don't have, so... well, grip strength for me in particular, it's where I failed. Had I better grip strength, I would have totaled 2,000 already. So I'm not doing it because it's the popular thing in the community. I'm doing it because it is literally the weak link in my deadlift, and it's, you know, what's holding me back. If you go look at the video, that 700-pound deadlift attempt when I competed last year, like the weight was moving well. I just couldn't hang on to it long enough to lock it out. So my grip withheld me from completing the lift. It was what broke down first, so it's what needs the attention. That, and then secondarily learning how to pull with a belt on. Like I said, everything I've done up to this point has been beltless in regards to the deadlift. Is a bench shirt just like a way stronger slingshot effect? Kind of yes and kind of no. It's going to dictate your bar path a lot better, or not a lot better, but a lot more. It's a lot more technical than just throwing on a slingshot. Are hamstring tears a real risk for deficit deadlifts? No idea. I've never torn a hamstring, don't know. If Phil from Fit World exposed banged Alex's sister, what do you think the child would look like? No fucking idea. That's pretty fucking great. Yeah, geared lifting, there's so much technique that goes into it. You still have to have a pretty decent base to be really good, but it is very, very technical. David, I've trained with a guy named Charlie Connor. I don't know if he still does, but it was last year or the year before, IPF single ply. He finished first in the world, hit a world record. I'm wanting to say he was a 100 kilo lifter, and he benched just a little over 700 single ply, and he's a mid 400s bencher raw. I mean, he gets a lot out of his shirt, and he is very, very technically proficient in all three lifts. Like watching him squat when he was training at our gym, like they were picture perfect, technical, 1 inch below parallel, super upright, no wasted effort, just beautiful looking squats. And again, he was not a super strong raw squatter either, but he does so well technically that he gets the most he can get out of his gear. You should wear a belt when squatting and deadlifting. You know, you get more core activation with the belt on, so you're missing gains if you're not using it. Not to say beltless training doesn't have its place, but you should certainly incorporate a belt too. Yeah, I think if you can hook grip, you probably should. Just do more grip if you want better grip. That's fucking it, man. You are building your internal belt when you're using a belt, though. That's, you know, like I said, all the recent studies coming out show much better core activation. Again, there's certainly value in beltless training, but if you're not using a belt ever, you're missing out. I just licked a rainbow's clitoris. Has drinking ever impeded my progress? No, because I've never been a heavy drinker. Yeah, get a fucking belt, bro. Do I hook grip? No. I think there's a video of me hook gripping one session, and I worked up to like a 5-plate deadlift. And I've got small, fat fingers, so it's really hard for me to get a good hook. You see, there's no room in there. Like, can't get a barbell through there. So I can't get a lot of fingers on my thumb, so it just didn't really work out great for me. Pylor at your size, I'd probably just go with a 10 millimeter. Lever or single prong, personal preference. I like single prong, but levers are the hot shit nowadays. Can't really find a quality one in my country. Can you order one online and have it shipped there? I would look going that route first. If not, whatever. I guess if you have to get a cheap leather belt, better than nothing. No, never alcohol pre-workout, ever. I'm not into the whole whiskey and deadlift shit. I don't drink before I work out. I mean, to be fair, Savage Boy, like in my own experience, I was squatting 570 pounds without a belt before I ever bought a belt, and it's just because I'm a cheap motherfucker. But given all the recent science that's been put out, and you know, the typical people and what's been shown to work, you are missing out without doing belted training. That's weight you couldn't be doing otherwise. There is more core activation. A balance of both is probably going to be best. Like I said, I wouldn't completely neglect beltless, but you're also missing out if you're not using a belt. So I don't think there's no finite set number. Again, I'm not a fan of these arbitrary numbers for anything. Like, you have to be doing X amount of weight before you do this, or, you know, if you do X amount of this, you're not natty. If your body is X amount body fat at this weight, it's not natty, etc. Arbitrary numbers are dumb. What's knocked out a horse with a slap is a $100 bet. Does the hook grip work the grip as much as over and under? I felt a good pump in my forearms that one session I did use hook grip. So I don't know. I've not done it enough to be able to say if one works better or works the grip better than the other. Thoughts on working out hyped up? I don't really like to work out hyped up. I like to maintain composure. It's just going to be easier on your nervous system long term. I certainly think there could be some value to hyping yourself up, you know, strategically, and getting some extra benefit here and there, but not something I would do regularly at all. Yeah, I'm crossing fingers for getting something out of a belt on deadlifts. We'll see. On the Roseanne stuff, I mean, it's just that's our culture today. It is what it is. I really don't care about what rich people are doing or entertainers are doing. She got her show canceled, whatever. If she didn't get her show canceled, whatever too. Pull up, chin up, have any more carryover to deadlift strength? I mean, working your upper back is never going to be a bad thing in regards to any lift. David Forbes, are you familiar with J.P. Carroll? He got a bunch out of his belt, and he and I are built kind of identical, other than he's just a lot larger than I am. It's going to be individual. You know, some people are going to get more out of it than others. Some people aren't going to get anything. Up to this point, my starting position and the air I've been able to get has always been so much more superior without a belt that I've done better without it. But I'm really taking a step back and going to see, because if I can get weight out of the belt, that's weight I'm leaving on the platform that I don't want to leave on the platform. This shit is humbling. Yeah, the feet up bench press, it'll really shows you how much, even if you don't think you're getting a lot of leg drive, just being tight and set up with your feet on the floor, you know how much there is there to get. But I think I'm going to go about 5 more minutes, guys. So if you guys have any more questions or anything, get them in here. Got to get up and work in the morning. Yeah, I forgot to put my belt on last OHP session. I wonder if Alex deleted my comments on his new video yet. Is he deleting comments again now? How much does the belt help squatting? I think it's generally like 10% is the consensus. I don't know, but like I said, I'd never squatted more than 570 beltless, and I got up to 570 beltless before I ever bought a belt. And it was 2 months after having the belt, I ended up squatting 630 in competition, and I don't think, you know, I legit added 60 pounds in 2 months already at that level of squatting, so I definitely got a good amount out of the belt. And then if you look at my front squats, I think my best beltless front squat is either 465 or 475, I'm not sure. And then with the belt on, my best front squat is 550. Oh. Do I think I could beat up Alex and Phil in a handicap match? Phil's at least got some good size. That's another one of those, if we fought 10 times, I think I could get a few in there. 2-on-1's always going to be hard. A lot of it would depend how my first shot went. But I think out of 10, I at least get 2 out of 10 of those. Bugenhagen and me versus 2 Alexes and 2 Phils. I like those chances better than me against 1 Alex and 1 Phil. I'll put it to you that way. But, you know, I've been in a couple real fights, man. Numbers games are realistically very hard to make up for, you know, if you're not like a legit trained fighter. You know, we see these internet videos of one guy taking out 2 people, but, you know, 2-on-1 sucks. Me versus Baja and Alex. Again, maybe I get 1 or 2 out of 10. It is not warm year-round, and I fucking hate winter. That's the only thing I don't like about living here. I grew up in Florida, in Central Florida, where it was warm year-round for the most part. Didn't really like Florida except for that aspect of it. Wintertime is absolutely miserable, and I'm sure my winter compared to your winter ain't shit. But nonetheless, being that I grew up in Florida and now I live in the mountains in East Tennessee, going from basically no winter to a seemingly 4-month-long winter sucked. But yeah, we're not Canada. We do get snow here. I think our biggest snow last year was like 5 inches. So we don't get blizzards or anything, but we do get snow. We usually get 1 or 2 decent sized snows a year. It's the only time I miss Florida is in the wintertime, because we could go outside in December and it'd be fucking 70 degrees. Phil versus 9 buses. Would I rather live in Iceland or Scotland? I have no fucking clue. I've never been to either place. I guess I'd pick Scotland because Mark McQueen lives there, and I like Mark McQueen. That's my dude. David, growing up in Florida, like, we had 4 seasons, but it just wasn't the same 4 seasons most of the rest of the country have. It was not summer, summer, or no, excuse me. Been drinking too much Henny. Hold on. The 4 seasons were almost summer, summer, not summer but really fucking hot, and Christmas. -50 wind chill. Holy fuck. Do I think Alex lied about his lifts? That 225 looked suspect. Now I've not seen a lot of things because I don't follow closely, but did he tell Pete Rubish he deadlifted 600 pounds when he hasn't deadlifted 600 pounds? If he did, that's a lie. I don't know what other lifts are in question. He did the grippy one that we asked him to do, so. 10mm belt from Rogue for $50. Nah, you're good, dude. Prime Lesnar versus Hapthor. I'm taking Prime Lesnar. Again, he's NCAA D1 super heavyweight national champion. His wrestling is world class, and he's a fucking freak athlete. That one's a no-brainer. Prime Brock takes almost everybody who's ever existed in history. Brock Lesnar is like Bob Sapp if Bob Sapp actually knew how to fight. Me and the Bugs versus Brock Lesnar? Oh, probably Brock Lesnar. Said to Petey deadlifted 585, but that was based off his behind the back deadlift, which was year before his hitch sumo. So he didn't tell Pete it was a 585 pound behind the back deadlift, right? He just said deadlift. Misleading. LeBron is not the GOAT. You're showing your age there. Michael Jordan is the fucking GOAT. You're wrong. Goddamn kids, and their LeBron is the GOAT bullshit. Video was lost on a friend's camera. Not really surprised. Doesn't surprise me. You're not 50 years old if you say LeBron is the GOAT, bruh. 50-year-old Silverback, get the fuck out of here. Oh, alright, one last one for you guys. Been fun. Taking my ass to bed. Bill Russell's not the GOAT either. He didn't play against anybody. You're wrong. Michael Jordan.